This is episode 22, and today we're interviewing Radmila Blazheska, who is from Macedonia, today known as North Macedonia. She lives in London. She's had a career in marketing. And 2.5 years ago, she joined a company which was 10 years old at the time and convinced the owners that they have to change their name to a new name. She came up with the name SecurityHQ, and last year they quadrupled their revenue and their sales and their customers. So it has been working. We're interviewing about that journey. It's interesting. It's exciting. It's in the security online cyberspace.
Believe in your brand and build the brand around the customer value.
Welcome to Memorable Marketing by MediaGroup. This is episode, what are we up to, Zane? 22. And today we have a special guest. Mila, how are you doing?
Hi, Thomas. Zane, I'm delighted to be part of this podcast series. How am I doing? Great. It's not a bad weather for London this morning, so
good. Let's hear about the weather in London. How's it going on this end of January day? Is it raining a lot?
No. Funny enough, I guess with all the climate change, it's quite mild winter in London, so it's not that bad. It's not that cold. I guess it's colder than Australia, but yeah, we're not complaining.
We have
that
summer
much
here right now, so it's. I was in the pool earlier today, not too, but yeah, it's just different lifestyle, Children's party in the afternoon. Yeah, that's how it is. All right,
we don't have that luxury, I'm afraid.
Look forward to spring. Okay, so Mila, can you tell me a little bit about your journey prior to joining SecurityHQ and how you ended up at SecurityHQ?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I would start off with how I ended up in marketing. I did an economics degree as my bachelor degree. I've not worked in economics a day. I had 2 modules in my university, marketing and global marketing, and it was, I found myself in marketing. It's basically the type of personality that I am. I love information. I love to try out new things, to find solutions, and to use a little bit of creativity, but also project managing. And I guess marketing was an area and field that I found that I can best use my skills. So after finishing my uni, I ended up working for an advertising agency, which was part of Grey Worldwide. Probably most marketeers know that. So it was my first introduction to the advertising world. And it was a fantastic introduction, but as well as it was very fast-paced. And also, as we know in the advertising world, you have to choose whether you're an account manager, so you go the route the sales, or you go route down the creativity. I couldn't choose. I was somewhere in between. I've always had a little bit of interest in media, in TV production and radio broadcasting. So I have ended up in a radio station where I started off as their marketing manager. And for 4.5 years, I ended up managing the radio. It was an interesting concept for that radio, which was a bilingual, and all of the journalists and basically all the broadcasts and the programs were done bilingual. I originally come from Macedonia, and in that part of the world, obviously we love radio, and I think it's still part of that culture. In between, I visited England, UK, fell in love with this country, and at some point of my youth and beginning of my career, I decided to move here. Where I ended up in London, when I was approached by the current owner of SecurityHQ, and we sat down for an informal interview, a meeting, where he mentioned the concerns and the focus of the company and who they are and what they do. At that time, the company was called SI Consult, and I did some research on the internet, didn't find much about the company, and I thought, that's a challenge for me. And I accepted the job offer, and 2.5 years, here I am as a Chief Marketing Officer of SecurityHQ.
What is Security HQ? I looked at your website earlier today, and I feel like I'm pretty good with computers, but it was a little complex for me, I must say. Can you explain what Security HQ is?
SecurityHQ, we are a global managed security service provider, or what would you say an abbreviation is an MSSP in the cybersecurity world. And what we do, we actually monitor, detect, and respond to threats. And we make sure that customers basically have a peace of mind when it comes to their network, to their online digital presence. And we provide a service where they can choose from a variety of different services from our portfolio. We have around 7 security operation centers around the world. So we have a big security operations always near a big hub in the regions.
So again, I'm just a layman here understanding. So if I had a lot of servers, you then host the servers and the traffic goes through your servers and you monitor threats and attacks and DNS and all that stuff, or is you are externally monitoring traffic to and from on my servers? How does that work?
It works both ways. So we have customers where, for example, we have teams that go on site and they basically monitor all the network and all the assets and all the DNS for our customers on site. However, most of our customers choose for us to monitor externally. So they obviously provide us with access through, and also we secure their cloud security if that's an approach that they're working on. Or again, we go in and we basically move the data back up to our service. So it's a different approach, and it's always tailored to the customer and whatever they need.
And are you targeting small businesses, big businesses, government businesses? Who are your clients?
Usually we target the SMBs. So our target approach is between 2,000 to 5,000 employees. So when we say SMBs, it's the medium, large companies and businesses who are local heroes in the regions. We do have few enterprise clients and customers, but we believe that a lot of the customers who we target sometimes don't have the capability or budget to actually have this in-house. So what we offer is a solution that they can use as a go. In terms of the private and the public sector, we have customers from both ends. So we sell also, the business model is we sell directly and via partners. So the model that we provide is a customer buys a service. Usually that is a 12, 24, 36 months length duration of contract where they can choose obviously to opt out from that. But what we believe is that minimum for them to actually use the benefit of our services is at least 2-3 years of length of contract, because obviously it takes time to onboard with a new service, and we have a very high renewal rate, almost 95%, which means that customers do trust us when it comes to renewing the contracts.
How do you get new clients? You mentioned before when you joined the company that you couldn't find out much about the company on the internet, so you had a blank canvas to sort of get started. So what was the first things you did when you joined as a CMO for SecurityHQ?
The business model is, as I mentioned, we provide our services via partners and direct. When I joined the company, 98% of the business was sold via business via partners, and then 2% via referrals. Now, at the moment, we are approaching 60-40%, where 60% of the sale is via partners, 40%, and obviously we're moving a bit more selling direct. We've quadrupled our revenue from last year, so we are very upscale and very fast-growing business. In terms of how we find prospects and clients and how we do that, my first approach when I joined the company was to rebrand it. hence the change of the name to SecurityHQ. That was the product and the service that we offer to clients, where they can access their logs and they monitor the alerts. We provide also a mobile app where they don't even have to be logged into a desktop computer or a laptop. They could be on a beach, and then basically they get an alert from our team saying, "Oops, there's an alert. This is something that we need to respond to." In terms of how we get the leads, usually, obviously, we use different tactics. Main approach is digital, online marketing, and obviously partner marketing, co-marketing activities is huge for us. We also organize and attend events and sponsor events. However, during the pandemic, obviously, that was a bit hard to do face-to-face. We're starting to get back to normal scenario now. We invest a lot in our thought leadership and PR. And we believe that obviously creating the buzz, it's very important, because the company itself, the brand, was unknown to the market, and now we are almost not just on the first Google search page, but we are quite ranking one of the top 5 MSSP providers in our key regions, which is a testament to all the facts that we've done in the last two years.
That's amazing. So just I want to unpack some of the things you said here. Let's go back a little bit. So when you started at the company, one of the first things you did was to change the name, come up with a better name, right? So you came up with the SecurityHQ. Was that, how much time did you spend on trying to find a new name? Was it a matter of finding the right domain name? Because that's also a part of getting the name right, making sure that you get .com, or at least something that rhymes on that. Or what was the approach there? Did you use some external consultants, or did you come up with yourself, with your team? How did you do? Can you talk about that process?
Absolutely. When I first joined the company, my first task was to actually build a marketing team, because there was no marketing department in the company. So for me, it was to find the talent, to hire the right people to help me achieve what we've achieved so far. And one of the first things that we have also approached was the rebrand process. It took about 9 months. We used an external design agency that they helped us with coming up with the visual statement, obviously with the rebranding. And when it came to the name, that was a mutual management decision. As I mentioned, SecurityHQ was already a platform that we provided to our customers. So it was kind of like a default that we decided, all of us, that SecurityHQ should be the name of the brand. And it was the right decision, and it still is. It's obviously took about 9 months from get-go to the first exposure of the brand. We have a fantastic team of marketeers, but as well as web design agency, and as well as a graphic design agency who helped us build the brand. And it was a very non-stop project, where we approached it from, basically we had to build everything from scratch. There was nothing. From marketing collateral to website to also building up the relationship with our partners, and as well as the digital world.
And do you remember how many clients you had when you joined the company, as opposed to how many clients you have now? Can you talk a little bit about that journey?
We are a privately owned company, so I'm not able to disclose any revenue numbers or number of customers. But I would say that, so as I mentioned, so just in the last year, we have over 420% increase of revenue. And we have quadrupled the number of customers as well. And that just shows that we are a very serious market player right now in our key regions. And the key regions which I want to mention is obviously the EMEA, UK and Ireland, the Middle East, as well as APAC. Australia and India is a very important market for us. And we have recently, last year, opened a new office, and we have a growing team in the US. So that's also a market that we are approaching very fast right now.
It sounds like you've done a great job so far, Mila.
Well, I hope so.
So let's go back to what you said also before. You said that you're using digital content, you're making campaigns, but can you walk me through one of these campaigns where you do, and what platforms do you use? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Facebook? How do you create a campaign typically? Can you walk me through that?
Absolutely. So what I usually take as an approach is the all-in-one marketing approach. So in terms of the campaigns that we use content syndication. We use obviously LinkedIn paid advertising. We also reach out to third-party vendors. We do a lot of advertorials. We do a lot of PR. We write a lot of blogs. So our focus is obviously to be known as experts in the cybersecurity field. And that's what we have been doing over the last 2 years. Now we have an army of analysts of almost 360 experts, security experts who are very well known in their field. So we are basically everything that you see that we've built as a company, from blogs to white papers to webinars, is about also educating our customers about the value of using a managed security service provider. Not so much about banging on of how great we are. I think it's the most important thing to come across is that the customer is the hero and we are the partner in their journey, and that's important for us. So obviously the brand exposure is very important, but it's the customers and how we actually go through that whole journey of acquiring customers to being a customer with us, and that's very important, and that's also that type of tailored approach that we are able to offer to our customers, that not a lot of companies can do that, because we're not just offering them the best technology that they can get out there. We're also offering the knowledge, the expertise, the all that package that if they had to invest in that themselves, it would be something that it might take over their lives. So what we offer is we actually offer that peace of mind.
That makes total sense. So you're providing a lot of value to your potential customers and your customers, saying this is important. This is what we're looking at right now. You mentioned that you're making the customer the hero. So it's not about selling yourself, but this is the information that we know, and you share that freely and openly in blogs, which of course helps with SEO, helps brand you as an authority. Google likes that from a trustworthiness and from a security perspective. So they go and point to you when people are searching for this. It becomes this positive cycle. But the philosophy behind this is you share your thoughts, you share the value from these 360 analysts you were talking about before, which helps bring in blogs, which helps bring in customers. Is that correctly understood?
Absolutely. And once you start following our social media, or whether that's LinkedIn or Facebook, or visit our website, or join our newsletter subscription, for example, you will notice that we don't just talk about us and what we do. We talk about the latest threats. We talk about how to prevent ransomware. We actually provide tactical suggestions of what customers should be able to do in any event that happens, and how they should do it. We have an incident response hotline, for example, for even businesses who are not our customers. So if there's an incident and they're facing a cyber attack, they can ring a number, and our analysts will be there to provide some sort of help. And not a lot of companies do that, but we believe that in order for customers to be able to build that trust in you need to also be able to provide that you are that trusted partner.
Makes sense. And can I just go back to that decision, because companies and CMOs I interview all have different perspectives and different philosophies. Where did you come up with the philosophy of saying, hey, we should share as much as possible, because some companies, they want to keep all the expertise in-house. They don't want to share anything. They only want to share if people are paying. Where did you make that decision that you want to create value and be the customer, be the hero?
It's part of my philosophy, and it's always have been. But as well as it's also part of the philosophy of the company itself. I work with fantastic people, and they like to share the knowledge and expertise, and also the fact that that cyber crime is affecting everyone. So if we notice there's a ransomware attack, and then that's been happening all the time. For example, the past experience with the Log4j that happened just before Christmas. So our analyst picked it up immediately, and it was going over the weekend, late hours. And we were all involved in the fact that we wanted to publish this. We wanted to alert the public that this is happening and people should be aware of this. So the PR, the marketing department got together. We wrote a blog with our analysts, put down a very extremely useful presentation and also material for businesses out there that should they prevent and help in this situation. And that's who we are, and that's what we do, and that's what we do for our customers. So we want to also tell the public that if they come with us, they know that they will be shielded, they will be protected, that they can trust us. Obviously, we are, as I said, we're not the heroes. The customer is the hero. We are the partners.
I like that, and I love that you guys are sharing that. So good on you. Well done. And it seems to be working since you quadrupled your sales last year, which is amazing. If we can go back to the strategy of getting out there, obviously all the blogs and some postings and ads and stuff like that. How long does it take from a potential the customer's journey from finding out about you to the actual sign up? Do you have any studies on that? Do you have any numbers on that? So what's the average journey, and what do you do in that process? Do you build a funnel where they can set up an email, they get send them articles, or how do you prepare them to go from being curious to being a customer?
It's an interesting question. Obviously, we're trying to shorten the conversion rate, as I guess as a marketer, it's one of our KPIs that we always do. We have managed to shorten the conversion rate in terms of the cycle, because when it comes to managed security service provider, we're talking about a massive investment. Usually customers already have a certain other vendor. So choosing to move is also a decision that they need to make. A lot of people get involved in those decisions. So our funnel is obviously from approaching the outreach out there to building that trust through nurturing leads, through our marketing campaigns, from email marketing to obviously social media, through retargeting and so on. Once they become part of our funnel, it's also the combination of using the marketing tactics to also make sure that our sales and marketing, we work together and alongside. And that's very important. So in terms of the right targeting with the right message, but also making sure that we are building the campaigns that our sales teams are comfortable with approaching these customers. We don't believe in mass marketing. We believe in very targeted approach, a specific, working a lot on account-based marketing and working a lot on focusing on certain areas and certain industries or certain job roles that we know we can sell to. But as well as we know that our services that we provide are the ones for them. So once a lead enters our database, they go through a cycle of becoming a marketing qualified lead or sales qualified lead to a prospect, to a customer. That journey can sometimes be 3 months, could sometimes be 12 months. It also depends on the scale of the company and the customer who is involved in that decision. And obviously, we cannot help everyone and every business out there. There's always a tailored solution sometimes that needs to be thought through and needs a little bit more. Usually what we found is not the marketing side that takes long, it's the legal side that actually takes the biggest side of that conversion rate. So we're helping through also training a lot the sales teams. We are putting a lot of effort in sales collateral, in effort to do a lot of workshops where we help train our sales teams in not just the value of the products and the services that we provide, but also understanding the customers that they are trying to approach and sell to.
Mila, just going back to what you said before. So instead of going mass, you're going very deep, you go very niche. So when you're talking about that, you of course mean the people at the C-level at different companies who have the certain title. That's what you go after. Is that what you meant by going more niche, or can you give a better example of that?
Absolutely, but not just the right role, but as well as the type of companies. As we said, we are not targeting everything out there. We cannot service all the customers in the world. We also target a certain regions or hubs where we know that customers are locally oriented, but as well as in the security business, in each of our security operations center, we have a data center. So we hold data for our customers. So, for example, that's a very key point to sell as well. Once you approach a customer, first thing the customer is asking you, so do you have a local data center where I know that my data will be secured? And that's what we offer as well. So that's one of the other reasons why, for example, sometimes certain companies are fine with their data leaving certain countries. But what we always say to our customers is that they have to know that their MSSP is actually offering a local data center that they know it's secured. And that's one of the key points that they should be aware of.
Makes total sense. Makes sense. Now, how many years have you been at SecurityHQ?
I've been there for 2.5 years. The company's been existed for almost 12 years.
Right. So in those 2.5 years, you've grown, as you said, a lot last year, which is amazing. Is there any campaign you're particularly proud of? Anything where you really, really thought that, wow, we did a great job here? And can you tell us about it?
Absolutely. I mean, we already talked about the rebranding, which I'm very, very proud of, and the whole rebrand process. The year after we obviously rebranded, we have attacked the market, and we were obviously a contestant, and now we're becoming a major leader in all of these key regions. So one of the key things that I'm really proud of is also the awards and the achievements that we have achieved. Our security solution, the SecurityHQ response platform, has been awarded last year as an IBM. We actually achieved the Beacon IBM Award for our outstanding security solution. Now, that's something that is not easy to achieve, and it's on a global level. And other awards and achievements that we have achieved on a local area. It's not just the testament that our customers are happy about the service that we provide, but also the fact that they are referring in our customer testimonials. We have around, as I said, we have 95% renewal rate, but we also have 90% customer satisfaction. So, and that's something that I'm very proud of, and that's very important for us. The fact that we are now, I guess, top 5 managed security service providers in those key regions, and I would say that that's also a massive achievement that I'm proud of my team, but as everyone else involved, from the product to our security analysts to our management, and specifically the service delivery managers who provide and work and talk with our customers on a daily basis, sometimes go through nights and weekends, because that's when most of the cyber attacks happen. And those people work 24/7, 365 days. There's no downtime for us. We're there whenever we need a customer needs us.
What's your advice to other CMOs that's out there who might be listening to this podcast? What advice would you give to them from your point of view?
Trust your team. And that's the most important thing. Believe in your brand and build the brand around the customer value, and don't be afraid of a challenge. Every time we are always approaching a certain hurdle, a mountain that we are yet to climb. But the fact is, like, we are all doing our jobs as best as we can. But sometimes you need the help of other teams and get them involved. When you're building a brand, talk to your customers, talk to your sales teams, talk to your service delivery managers or customer teams, because they are the ones who would give you that insight that you're not maybe so much knowledgeable of. And as well as use any campaign or any type of channel that works for you. Some of them will work for you, but for me, it's always using a best combination, not just one. But I love experimenting with certain campaigns, and creating that buzz is something that is very important for us, the thought leadership and the content.
What keeps you up at night? What are you worried about from a marketing perspective?
I'd probably be say, are we using everything that we have acquired? Are we using our best capabilities and resources? Most of the time, sometimes we're reacting, and I love to be a bit more creative and a little bit more proactive, and that's the focus of this year. Our focus is overhauling the creative, the visuals, and the website again. But as we know, as days become more stressful and more longer, we get so bogged up in everything that we do that sometimes it's important that you stand away and you look at what you have achieved, and then you think, okay, now how do we improve this, and how do we best use these resources and our abilities? And I think that's my focus right now.
Good. What's the 5-year vision for you from a CMO perspective at SecurityHQ?
5-year vision. I think the pandemic has actually taught us one thing, that all plans go to out of the window. So right now I'm focusing on yearly plans, a bit more detailed. We do have a business plan, and obviously my job is to achieve those. In our year 2, we already have through what we set out in our 5-year plan. So now for us is to accelerate even more. And in those 5 years, for me as a CMO, is to not just to have be the market leader in the key regions that we target, but as well as to become a challenger in a global aspect as well.
Mila, it's been absolutely a pleasure listening to you. It's great to hear your perspective on the heroes, the customer is the hero, and about sharing and providing value. I think that's absolutely great. And I want to thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much for the invite. And I'm delighted to be part of this podcast series.
If you are a regular listener or watcher, viewer of this program, this podcast series called Memorable Marketing, then you will know at the end of it, I bring in Zane. And who is Zane? Zane is our podcast producer. He's the one sitting behind the scenes, pressing the buttons, make sure we sound good. And I always joke, maybe not look good, but at least we sound good. And the reason why I bring in Zane is to hear his perspective on what he thought about today's podcast.
Because I'm a layperson who doesn't work in marketing. So, yeah. It was really interesting. I really appreciated Mila's approach to branding specifically, because she joined the company after they were a little bit established. They'd been running for 10 years. And in the 2 years, the first thing she did was reshape the brand. And
Which
I
is
think
scary for,
yeah, also fun.
Yeah, but fun.
I think she really...
she's doing a
really
great job, and
it.
I think the name is great. I think, but it's just if you are a company for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And you're the owners of that company, and you hire someone else, and somebody comes and say, hey, I want to break it all apart. I want to throw everything out, everything you've done, just throw it out the window, and we're going to start all over. That can be quite scary for people who don't know about marketing. So she convinced them, which is amazing. And she came up with this great name, and now it's paying off. So good on her.
And I think what I really appreciate is that she's built that brand around the kind of the ethos that treating the customer as the hero and they're the partner that kind of help the customer achieve their success. I think that is that kind of the branding and the kind of the action that goes with that brand is kind of the strength that she brought to the company.
If you freely want to share all your knowledge, all your expertise, and say, hey, this is what you need to look out for. This is what you should do. This ransomware attack is happening right now. These are your steps you can take. And it's nothing about join us, will help you. No, this is things you can do. It just builds trust. It just builds awareness. And if something up, wow, I trust these guys. So, and
that was the other note that I made was like the fact that they have an incident hotline that anyone can call, whether they're a client or not. That is an amazing step, an amazing marketing tool that not all companies would think of because, that they giving away something for free that they might charge for. And I think that is kind of an old school mindset that I think, this is the way of the future. Displaying what you have and your willingness to contribute. Sharing
value, just building value, which speaks again to SEO, which again speaks to the story and the heroes. The customer is the hero. I love it. I think it's great. I think Mila's done an absolutely amazing job, and she's
absolutely
wonderful to interview. I was so glad to have her on.
Excellent.
All right, Zane, until next time.
Till next time.